Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I'm going to be talking all about the Maybelline Better Skin Foundation. Today, I'm going to be doing a mini drugstore haul and review for you. 2015 is, of course, almost a distant memory.
Let's have a real discussion here because it really feels like the days of being a chill, low-key content creator are over. Like, RIP to the days of let me just sit in my room with my candle lit in the background and tell you about my weekend while I do my makeup. To me, it really feels like those days are over. I am not someone who does the rise and fall videos, but today we are doing the rise and fall of the boring content creator because I don't know about you, but to me it feels like we have definitely seen the death of the boring content creator. There was once upon a time in YouTube land where we could sit in our homes, we could sit in our bedroom with our white walls, with our candle lit in the background, eventually with our giant makeup collections in the background if you watch beauty videos, and we could just tell you about a makeup product. We could get ready and tell you about the weekend. And we could do it without 50 edits in a video. We could do it without jump cuts, without B-roll, without video montage going over in the background, without sound effects, without text popping up. That was a simpler time, and it feels like those times are simply no longer. It's so interesting to me since I have been creating content for over 10 years now to see how the landscape has continued to grow and change. I'm someone who started as a blogger and then transitioned to go on to Instagram and YouTube and podcasts and books and all of these different things. But I've been able to see the transition, and right now it definitely feels like we're in a very interesting time when it comes to content creation. Not only does it feel like so many people want to be a content creator these days, but there are a lot of people that are absolutely killing it. There are people that are up and coming, make a few videos, go viral, have success, go on brand trips, get these crazy opportunities, are appearing in commercials. It feels like the wild, wild west again. To me, when content creation, being an influencer was becoming a thing, it felt very wild, wild west. And there was really no rules. I mean, I was around when we were first getting the like FTC disclaimers that we had to do. When we were getting like, you have to disclose these are affiliate links and put little asterisks in your description box next to affiliate links so people know. Like, I was in that time where I was getting emails and getting notified like, hey, this is actually something we identified as a problem. This is what you need to do going forward. So that time felt very wild, wild west, and I feel like right now it feels very wild, wild west. And if you are not keeping up with the times, changing your content, changing your editing style, etc., you are going to get left in the dust. So today we have the rise and the fall of the boring content creator, aka me. Being boring just doesn't seem to cut it anymore. Simply sitting in front of your camera and speaking is just not the vibes anymore. And I think it's because our attention spans have all but disintegrated. And of course, with the rise in social media, with the popularity of being on our phones at every single given moment throughout the day, I think that really contributes to the lack of attention span that we now have, even as grown adults, of course. And we are so used to being able to scroll and see something. If it doesn't catch our attention in the first 2 to 3 seconds, scroll again. Doesn't catch our attention 2 to 3 seconds, scroll again. And so as a content creator, it is now your job, if you want anyone to see your videos, whether it be a long form video or a short form video, you have to have a hook. You have to have something in your intro that is making people draw in right away and gets them past that 3-second mark. And especially for short form, it'll tell us on our videos, oh, people are watching the first 3 seconds of this video, so we're gonna show it to more people. If you don't hit people in that first 3 seconds, they're gonna click off and then your views are going to tank, which means your engagement is going to tank. And if this is something that you do as a full-time career, and people are paying the rent and eating food because of the career that they have in content creation, when your views and your engagement start to go down and you start to lose brand deals and that sort of thing, then it becomes very like, okay, I'm not being very good at my job right now. What is it that I have to do? I saw a video the other day from someone saying, you're not boring, your editing is boring. And we are definitely seeing a rise in editing right now. When I go on to my phone, now granted, I'm a content creator, of course, so I'm sure that I get served different content for different people and what we are interested in. But so many of my videos now are how to edit and how to grab attention, how to have a good hook, how to have, you know, visually engaging editing when it comes to short form and long form videos. I also listened to a podcast recently where the girl who's a very successful YouTuber said that she puts in an edit every 1 to 3 seconds in her video. And I was like, How do you put in that many edits in a video? How long does it take you to edit your videos? How do you even get the concepts? Like when I'm editing a video, if I have like a certain pause or a dramatic moment and I try to zoom in, or I talk about a product that I don't have and I can put in some B-roll for it, but I'm like, how is she thinking of putting in an edit? Just say every 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, that is a lot. That is a lot. But I will also say, especially when it goes over to short form content and I'm scrolling on my phone, if I see a video, like there's a girl that I saw that said, cool shit I gotta do this week as an influencer, but the text was popping up on the screen and it was cool shit, pop, got to do as an, I was like, oh, I wanna watch that video. Versus someone just coming on and being like, let me tell you what I did this week. Like that is boring. You have to be able to switch up your content and make it more interesting. And so we are definitely seeing a rise in influencers and content creators who work a little bit more on their editing, who make their style a little bit more engaging, who do something in the beginning of their videos to pull the viewers in and think, okay, I'm gonna watch past 3 seconds, or in a long form video, I'm gonna watch past the first 1 minute and see what this is all about. Audiences have gotten kind of used to content that feels like you're drinking like an energy drink or something along those lines, right? It's very fast paced. You have a lot of other things happening because that keeps our attention focused. That keeps us like, oh, I wonder what's happening now and what she's gonna pop up and what graphic she's gonna show and how she's going to make this funny. There was a point in time where I was really trying with my editing. I will say that. I was like really trying and I was getting so many nice comments and people were saying like, oh, this video is so funny. Like the GIFs that you included are so funny. Your editing is so funny. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And then I will be honest, I felt like it was way too time consuming. I felt like I was spending way too much time editing my videos and learning a new editing style compared to the money that I was making on my videos. And I was like, you know what? People say that they want relatable. They want someone to just like sit down and talk. But I think there is a very big difference between making casual, relatable content and making strategic, casual, relatable content. Even when it comes down to something like lighting, I'm someone who, I'm very bad at my short form content. If I just think of something that I want to film, I'll just turn my camera on and film it real quick. I won't put my selfie light in there, and I love my selfie light. I won't put my selfie light on. I won't do anything visually appealing for my lighting. Sometimes I have no makeup on. A lot of times in my YouTube videos, like today is a hair wash day. We've had a lot going on with the hair. Like, could I do something better with my hair? Probably. But I'm still somewhat like, I get really stuck in my ways of like, oh, people want relatable and they want like this casual kind of bring you into my home style video. I do think audiences want to see that, but they want to see it at a higher production value. That just is what it is. The bar has just become higher and higher and higher as content creation has gotten more, I don't know if I necessarily want to say accessible, but as it's become a more achievable things, I hear stories all the time from people saying, you know what, I just quit my full-time job and I'm just gonna give it a go as being a full-time content creator. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, like that's incredible. And I know people who have done full-time content creation for just a few months and are now making thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on content creation and brand deals and getting some amazing opportunities. And then as someone who is your more like casual, relatable, I just want to sit in my apartment and talk to you, I'm like, I really need to step up my game because I feel like I've been doing this for a long time. I have a lot of passion behind it and I've built a really cool community behind it, but I am getting left in the dust because it's not just enough to share these days. You have to perform. And that is something that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, so I am not, you know, in the category of the death of the boring content creator. Watch time is absolutely our king for our analytics. Anyone that I work with, anyone who, you know, does deep dive into analytics or analyzes YouTube channels, one of the first things that they are always looking for is what is your watch time? What is your engagement on that? And again, if you can't reel someone into your video quickly and have them want to watch the whole thing, keep their attention focused on that video, you know, if you are just sitting in a room talking and you have nothing else going on, sure, there's going to be a handful of people that have videos on like that while they're cleaning, while they're folding laundry, while they're doing their own makeup. But to me, that is becoming less and less and less these days, and people really want to be engaged when they are watching their videos, which is where different editing styles come into play. And the thing about being a content creator is that this is a completely self-taught career. You know, I come from traditional employment where when I was first hired at my job at the hospital, I spent a full 2 weeks in training, learning from other people, learning the computer systems, learning the phone systems, and all of those things. When you decide to become a content creator, yes, of course, you can Google YouTube videos and you can watch short form videos of how to be a better editor, how to film, what camera to use, and that sort of thing, but it's all up to you. You don't have to do that if you don't want, versus like if you're going to a job, that's part of your job. You're gonna sit down for 8 hours and you're gonna learn how to do the system. Being a content creator is completely self-taught. So if you want to advance in your career, you also have to be able to take the time to do that continuing education. So you really need to educate and then implement what you are learning so you can continue to succeed and grow. And I think that we have seen a lot of content creators over the past several years that have done this really well, that have continued to grow or rebrand. You know, one podcast that I listened to was pretty basic, and Alicia Marie was really well known way back at the start of YouTube days, and like for her back to school videos. And she's talked in her podcast about how she really struggled to move on from those videos because she would do like get ready with me for school, back to school giveaways, you know, what she would pack in her like back to school bag. And then she was like, I was in my mid-20s making back to school videos. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not in school anymore. I don't have kids that are going to school, but it was kind of like that child star moment where it's like, how do you get out of this box that you've been put in? And because of me being in the beauty space, I've talked about this a lot, of having a hard time being able to branch out from anything besides beauty. I've heard fellow content creators say that as well. And I've heard it in other niches also, that sometimes people kind of struggle to get out of just that one box and be able to rebrand and grow into a new territory. But again, I think that we've seen a lot of people do a really good job at this, or some people kind of outgrow content creation and move into other phases of their life. One person that I'm thinking about is Desi Perkins. She had a ton of popularity on YouTube, millions of subscribers, millions of views on her videos, and she went on to become a full-fledged businesswoman and launched multiple brands because of her success on YouTube. And I thought that that was such an incredible thing, and she's definitely someone who very much inspires me and motivates me to this day, of what you can do and how you can launch different businesses and really change the trajectory of your whole life by utilizing social media because of that. And Desi was someone who, when I go back to thinking about production value, she was one of the first YouTubers that I remember watching that I was like, is she in a movie studio? How is she making these videos? And then she did some behind the scenes on the videos, and she had a whole team around her, and she had very expensive cameras and lenses and all of this lighting. And I was like, she has truly gone from filming in her bedroom to filming in a full-fledged production studio, and you could tell by the quality of her videos. And I honestly can remember at that time years ago of being like, I don't know how to emulate this. I don't know how to replicate Desi's formula. And it was very overwhelming to me as a young creator and someone who didn't make that kind of money in the space yet, to be like, I don't know how to get that camera and that lens. I don't know how to dedicate so much of my time to editing when it's just me and I'm not creating that income yet to be able to do this. But that very much, that time always kind of sticks out to me, because I remember watching Desi's production value go up, and then slowly but surely you saw a lot of YouTubers follow that as well. And I think the ones who have done really well are the ones who like keep it this casual, relatable vibe, yet at the same time being strategic about it and still performing and using something like editing to elevate their videos now. And let's not even get me started on the drama, or maybe we should. I did a video recently where I was asking ChatGPT questions on the OG YouTube beauty community, and the majority of the questions and the answers were all people that were involved in a lot of drama, especially around the time of like, what was it, 2018, like 2019, in that frame, and like drama get like, so the 98% of those questions were based on the drama. And I was like, oh, okay, like drama definitely sells and gives creators longevity. That is something to me that I still really struggle with to this day, because it's almost like creators are realizing that being entertaining often means being messy and sharing that mess with their online world, or they at least have like a storyline. So it's not just they're sitting down in their bed like talking to the camera. Now they're kind of like a main character in a soap opera, to the point where some people have wondered some of the drama that has come out in the beauty community and other niches, even reality shows, that sort of thing. Is it actually drama, or is it more produced? Are these people deciding, you know what, hey, like, I'm gonna be very upfront about something. When I first moved to Las Vegas, I was approached to do a reality show and sat in on a few meetings and was like, I don't know, like I had just moved here from Iowa, just gotten divorced, my whole life had flipped upside down, and all of a sudden I'm in production meetings on a reality show, right? And it was so fascinating because they literally would point at people to say, this is your storyline, this is your arc, you can be the villain, you can be the good girl, and people were getting assigned roles for how they were going to be on the show. Reality shows, I don't know how realistic they are, or maybe it like starts as something that's a little bit realistic, but then it definitely has to be produced. This is something as well in the book world. I'm a published author of 9 novels, and I hear so many people when I talk about books, so many people come and say to me like, I really want to write a book about my life. I've been through a lot of hard things and I think that this would be so interesting. And I always say in the nicest way that I can, like, sure, write a book about your life. But unless you're a celebrity, unless you're incredibly well known, unless you've had like something major go on in your life, right? No one cares about you. And that's one thing about social media that I've had to learn as well. No one actually cares about you. They just don't. They want to be entertained, they want to be educated, they want to come on, they want to learn something, they want to escape, something along those lines. People don't really care about you. And it's the same thing with books. Yes, you can write a book about your life, but you're going to have to be able to tweak it. You're going to have to be able to make it more exciting. You're going to have to be able to squiggle the timelines a little bit to make it a little bit more cohesive to be able to write a book, fiction or non. And it's the same way with reality shows. I feel like it's kind of the same way with sharing these lives that, you know, people who are more like lifestyle creators. Yes, you're giving your life, but you have to tweak it a little bit. You know, I've done videos about morning routines and hygiene routines and all of these different things. And it's like, do I think at the base, if someone's showing you this morning routine, that that's probably what their morning routine is? Sure. But do they jazz it up a little bit for the cameras? Yes, of course. Because you can't just show a boring morning routine where you get out of bed, you yawn and go brush your teeth, and then you make a coffee. You need to make it more exciting. You need to have certain jump cuts. You need to have different editing. You need to have zoom ins. You need to have something aesthetic. You need to have a cute pair of pajamas on. You need to have your hair in rollers. You need something that is going to catch your entertainer's attention, because our attention span is so short these days. So if you're just making regular morning routine videos like you were doing in 2016, they're probably not getting a lot of views because you're not keeping up with the times. And going back to the drama, I don't want to say that every creator is faking drama for views. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. But I am saying that the internet rewards chaos. It just does. Maybe that's a hot take. For me, an example is, look at the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the reality show that came out, because these women came onto a platform like TikTok and got messy and shared some very private, intimate things about their lives and were rewarded for it. They now have millions of people tuning into their lives on social media. They talk very openly about their brand deals, how much money they're getting, that they do brand deals just to do brand deals to get money. I think there was a point in time in content creation where it was very big to be like, I will only work with brands that I really love and I really support and I really use and all of those things. And now you have content creators that are like, I'm getting my bag. I'm making my money. I don't care. Like, and that to me, like, I have seen the cast of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives be like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna work with this. This doesn't line up with my values as a Mormon, but I can be able to get a good paycheck from this. And I'm like, goodness. But again, the internet rewards the chaos and the mess. And now they also have a reality show, which is just elevating them further and further into the stardom. So even the more chill content creators these days are now subtly leading into more spicy narratives, myself included. I think that I'm pretty chill. I try to stay out of drama the best I can. I don't really like to talk about it a lot either. When I started to see more and more creators and some of my friends start to do videos that I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I didn't know that you were quite interested in that topic. But I also look at those same creators and I'm like, you are very smart. You were very smart with your content, and I applaud them. Like, I'm not saying anything negative, but I think that they were able to understand that the landscape was changing. And it's something that I wish that I would have noticed or got on board with a little bit sooner, because there's still ways to be able to talk about current events, even people or brands, in a way that doesn't have that drama channel feel that we used to have around the 2018, 19, 2020 timeframe, where it just kind of felt, you know, I'd watch some of those videos and I'd just feel kind of like gross and icky. And now there's people that make really great commentary videos on current events, makeup brands, and sometimes even people, but they do it in a more educational or thoughtful or even analytical way. And I really look up to those channels, and it's something that I hope to be able to emulate with my own content, even something like this video. But to talk about editing, like, editing is the new personality when it comes to making videos. Editing styles are doing more heavy lifting than ever right now. Good editing can turn a mid story time into a viral moment. It's not just about what you say, it's how fast you cut, how funny your captions are, and how edited the chaos feels. Like for me, I just did a video recently talking about a ColourPop lip liner, and I filmed the video and was like, guys, I love this lip liner and it's on sale right now, great. If I were to just post that video, like, that's very boring, I'm not really doing anything. So then I take it into my editing feature and I'm like, guys, I use another lip liner. I have a photo pop-up of a grave that says RIP with a popping sound with it. I go to put the text overlay of what the actual shade is with like a ding sound and a bunch of sparkles everywhere. Have some different zoom cuts happening at the same time. It makes it a more visually appealing video for someone to watch. And again, I go back to the girl talking about cool shit she got to do that week as an influencer. If she was just sitting at her camera saying, this is everything that I did this week. First I went to Live, then I went to Poppy Steak, then I went to the Win Encore Beach Club. That is not very exciting. But if you're including clips of what you actually did, or your outfit photos, or you have the sound effects, or you have a map showing you walked from here to there, that's more exciting. It hooks more viewers to be able to watch or watch a video all the way through. And basically when it comes down to it, editing is the content. The punchline, the hook, the pacing, the personality, it is all in the post. And then again, a reminder of, you're not boring, your editing is. And that is something that I had to learn, because I was like, I feel like I have so many fun stories and things that I want to share, but I'm not editing my videos in the correct way to be able to tell a fun and engaging story. And this is where I need to get better. The influencer oversaturation is definitely a thing right now, and there's for sure a pressure to stand out. And I think I've definitely noticed this amongst the long-term content creators who kind of feel very lost in the shuffle suddenly. Like, we got very used to how we did our thing for many years, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh gosh, we have this whole new generation that's coming up. And in a way, I want to say kind of feels like coming after our jobs. But this is a reminder to all content creators, up and coming ones who have, you know, been doing this for years. To me, there is no glass ceiling. There is no, just because one person gets this contract means no one else gets that contract. It doesn't mean that just because one person gets this contract doesn't mean you're not going to get the next one. Social media is not going anywhere. The use of using content creators and social media marketing is only going to continue to rise and rise and rise. As we see more of a change from traditional marketing over to the digital age, there is always going to be a need for content creators, for UGC content, for videographers. I mean, all of those things. It's just kind of changed as the industry has changed, right? And so yes, well, it might seem like everybody is starting a podcast, everybody is starting a YouTube channel, everybody is starting a skincare line or a makeup line or a clothing brand, or coming out with merch or coming out with products. It can feel very overwhelming sometimes to figure out how you stand out amongst all of that noise and all of that content that is being served. So if you're new, or you're not already famous, or you've kind of gotten lost in the shuffle if you've been doing this for a while, really, you can't just be yourself and hope for the best. And again, I speak to myself, as that's what I felt like for such a long time. And I was like, people, like, I go back to saying, like, people want relatable, they want calm, they want, you know, a comfort content creator. Yes, they do, but it also has to be a little bit calculated. You have to have a hook, a niche, a hot take, a chaos, or all wrapped into one. So to end it, it's kind of like, what now? What's next? Like, is the era of the chill content creator truly over? Not necessarily, but you do have to adapt, because even the most relatable content creators these days are now strategically relatable. I used to be able to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna sit down and film a video and this is what I'm gonna talk about today. Not no more. I have my laptop in front of me. with a whole note section right here, bullet points, things that I want to say, things that I want to put in editing. I plan out my whole videos now, and that was something before that I was very against, because I was like, I want to just come on camera and be myself and talk about what I want to talk about. To me, those days are over. Those days are over, and you need to put more thoughts into your videos, and you need to put more thoughts into your editing, into your titles and your thumbnails. But especially to me, the core of your video, long form, short form, you have to be more strategic about it. Because this new wave is kind of this, like, I keep going back to the word chaos, but like a controlled chaos and intentional imperfection, curated casual. It looks like someone just turned on the phone or just turned on their video and they're gonna be talking, but there's actually a whole strategy and plan behind it. Even when I see short form 30-second videos from someone, but they're strategic, they're putting on a lip gloss while talking about whatever it is they're gonna talk about, that's a hook, that's visually engaging. Someone who's like setting their phone down while still talking and then continues to talk to the camera, that's a hook. And that's, you know, engaging editing wise. Again, all of the different ways with the fonts and the sounds and all of those things, it might look like it's someone that just turned on their camera, but they already have a thought in their mind of, this is how I'm gonna hook the audience, this is how I'm gonna bring them in, this is how I'm going to sell them on something, or I'm going to point them in this direction. It is strategically produced content that doesn't look like it's strategically produced. At the end of the day, content has evolved. Again, as someone who started in the blogging space, it took me too long to figure out people were moving over to Instagram and YouTube. And I kept on blogging and kept writing my reviews instead of turning to video tutorials. And the same thing, you know, everything about life is constantly evolving, right? Evolution. But content is no different. If I was still blogging like I was in 2009, that'd be wild. If I'm still, and so I have to remember, if I'm still making YouTube videos and editing YouTube videos the same way that I did in 2016, I'm not evolving. Content is evolving. If you are still making videos of your morning routine where you're just making your oatmeal in silence, I hope somehow you've made your silence really, really interesting. Anyway, so that's where I'm going to wrap up today's video and just say RIP to the boring content creator. We loved your low-key vibes while they lasted.